This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at SVVR 2015. To my immediate right is Maria Korolov, who is the president and founder of Women in Virtual Reality. So tell us about Women in Virtual Reality, the organization, I should say.
Yes. We're a group of women, and we're open to men, who are interested in promoting the visibility of women in virtual reality, attracting more women to the profession, getting more women onto the boards of directors of virtual reality startups, getting them more funding, and getting more women into universities and colleges to study virtual reality as well.
So what was your motivation to do this? Like, is there an obvious need? I mean, can you elaborate a little bit more as to how this came to be?
Yes. So last spring, there was the Silicon Valley Virtual Reality Conference, the first one, and there wasn't a single woman on the panels. Nani de la Pena was the one exception. And I was horrified because I know so many women working in virtual reality and they couldn't find any. So I looked around. Is there an organization working to address that? There wasn't. So we founded one.
So what would you like to see happen? Like, what would be an ideal result of your organization?
The ideal result would be that journalists profile more women and quote more women when talking about virtual reality, that startup companies startup companies working in virtual reality get more women in the board of directors, hire more women, that women get more funding from investors, and that women help build the next generation of the metaverse.
Now, actually, speaking of the metaverse and women in the metaverse, I don't know, I'm just going to bring this up here, but I don't know if you know Mary Spio. She runs Next Galaxy Corp.
Yes.
She invented the digital distribution mechanism, or at least she holds the patent for it, for movie distribution. I think this is just one example. You're talking about the metaverse.
Yes.
And I think, some of your members specialize in metaverse. Am I correct?
Yes. So one of our founding members is Julie Lemoyne, who runs 3DICC, one of the big three vendors for enterprise virtual reality platforms. Krista Lopez, based out here in California, she invented the hypergrid, which is a 3D version of the World Wide Web that links virtual worlds together and allows avatars to travel between them. It's out there right now. There's hundreds of virtual worlds connected via the hypergrid. Several founders of virtual worlds are in our group who are women, core developers, designers, academics, wide breadth of women from all industries, all areas.
If memory serves, Chris Collins and Joyce Betancourt are also members. They run Avacon. Am I correct?
Yes. Chris and Joyce were two of the organizers of the OpenSim Community Conference last year that I helped participate in, and they do a fantastic job. And it was a purely virtual conference about the open source metaverse.
Wonderful. So, how would I put this? Is it unnatural that there are fewer women in the marketplace? Like, do you think that there's just as many women interested in virtual reality as there are men, or is there an imbalance in how employees are chosen? Like, do you follow what I'm saying?
I think it depends on what area of virtual reality you're looking at. If you're looking at the group of coders that come out of the video game industry, then you have the same gender issue as you do in the video game industry. If you're looking at people in academics, if you're looking at the disability, healthcare issues, social issues, research of various kinds, then there's gender parity. Women are very strong in those areas. Art, design, narrative, women have parity in those fields. And there's a lot of them who are extremely interested in virtual reality, in addition to the ones who are actually coding and developing the platform.
So let me rephrase the question. So we're at SVVR. the majority of the audience here, not by choice, is filled with men. I mean, I'm estimating maybe 85-90% of the audience here are men. Is this reflective of a desire of women to be in the VR industry? Are there just as many women interested in VR as there are men, or do we have to take an extra effort to attract women to the industry?
What I've heard is that the same kind of conference that if it was held in LA would have a very different gender balance. San Jose, the Silicon Valley, is kind of the epicenter of a certain kind of development that is very heavily male-dominated. And so since this conference draws from this local geography, it also falls victim to the same gender balance issue. And it's academic to the region's industry, technology industry as a whole, not just VR. I think if you step back to the broader picture, there's a lot of women in virtual reality.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So now, as far as your organization, how can people get involved?
You go to our website, WIVR.net. There's a button there you can press to get more information. You can participate in meetings. They're virtual, so you can be anywhere on the planet. We hold networking events. We have outreach committees. We man tables at conferences. We set up experts with media interviews. We have an expert directory that we publish. So if you're a woman who's an expert in some area of virtual reality, let us know. We'll add you to our expert directory. We want to get you into the media. We want to get you onto the boards of directors. We want to increase your visibility. And so help us help you do that.
Now, I mean, this is just one of the things that you do. I mean, you have an illustrious career well beyond WIVR. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, the WIVR is just a very new thing that we just started. I've been the editor and publisher of Hypergood Business for the past few years, which covers enterprise uses of virtual reality and specifically focusing on the open source metaverse, OpenSim. During the day, I'm a cyber technology journalist. I write for Chief Security Officer and Network World and other IDG publications. And in the past, I've run a news bureau in China, and I've reported from places like Russia, Chechnya, and Afghanistan.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at SVVR. We will, of course, be back with more. Thank you for watching.